Today's closing numbers, U.S. stocks decreased, led by a big technology names as Wall Street continues to swirl after the Federal Reserve said it will keep interest rates at nearly zero for years to support the wheezing economy. The S&P 500 was 1.3% lower in afternoon trading. A day earlier, the index gave away gains in the last hour of trading to record its first loss in 4 days. U.S. housing construction fell a surprising 5.1% in August after 3 months of strong gains when home builders ramped up projects following a pandemic-induced shutdown in March and April. Applications for building permits, which is a good barometer of future activity, dipped a slight 0.9% in August to a seasonally adjusted 1.47 million, but that decline followed solid gains in the previous 3 months, including a 17.9% rise in July. New homes were started at a seasonally adjusted annual rate pace of 1.42 million last month after a 17.9% surge in July. That was all reported by the Commerce Department today. So, Anthony, when it comes to the markets, we've seen a change in these past 4 days. What we're seeing is them responding to the markets responding to the fact that the Fed's saying that they're keeping their interest rates low. But people are concerned about inflation. The Fed's saying we can control inflation, meaning prices aren't going to skyrocket. But that doesn't seem to be the case. People aren't buying into that. We're already seeing increasing prices. And the markets really showed that today because we know the markets have been climbing. And we saw techs dip a little bit today. As for housing starts, well, we've all known that people are trying to hunker down. They're working from home. They don't have to be in the big city anymore where the housing prices have always been so expensive. They're moving out to the burbs or perhaps refinancing because of low interest rates. So housing, we see continue to see strong numbers, but a little bit of a drop off, which is expected given the situation. But people still out there able to take advantage of low interest rates, whether they're purchasing a new home or refinancing. And so that trend is going to continue. What we are seeing in certain parts of the country, Florida actually one part where housing is in such demand now that they actually are below inventory, which could actually drive prices higher, if you could imagine.
Well, it's interesting, Laverne. I believe you mentioned a second ago who can take advantage? Who can take advantage of these rates? And I was looking over some numbers regarding black home ownership and how it is down largely as a result of the Great Recession from the 2000s. And only 44% of black families own their homes compared to 73%, almost 74% of white households in this country. So whenever I hear the numbers that you mentioned in these types of stories, one of the first things I always think is, well, who can take advantage of the lower rates? That's always something that sticks out to me. And numbers like this explain why, in many cases, black folks in this country are not among those that can take advantage as much as others.
There's a saying, Anthony, the rich get richer. And that's pretty much why, because if you've already got money and you're able to refinance at a lower mortgage rate or whatever, you're saving and you already have money. So unfortunately, that's the way the system works.
All right, well, I have a question for you, Laverne. Would you be willing to watch an advertisement before making a phone call? How about as you text? Well, AT&T CEO John Stankey says he thinks some customers might be interested in accepting ads on their phones to save $5 or $10 on their monthly bills. This idea has been tried in the past by other carriers, but it's never been successful. Stankey says AT&T has much more data on customers, which means ads could be targeted even better. The company's advertising business incorporates data that comes from both inside and outside its ecosystem. The AT&T CEO says this plan could come in the next year or two. So, Laverne, would you sign up for this plan to save $5 or $10 a month?
This is very tempting, Anthony, very tempting because I am a penny pincher.